whether it is meditation on the method side, which is Bodhicitta, compassion, loving kindness, and so forth, or meditation on the wisdom side, the wisdom to see everything as dreamlike, everything as being empty of independent existence. In both cases, it must be preceded, that meditation must be preceded by the preliminary practice, the practice of the 7 limb puja. 7 puja referring to making prostration to the enlightened beings and bodhisattvas, Buddhas and bodhisattvas in short. And then next, making offerings of anything beautiful, anything delicious, anything nice to the Buddhas and bodhisattvas. Then the negativities, the negative karmas that you've accumulated since beginningless time until now, confess all these negative karmas in front of all the enlightened beings and the bodhisattvas. Then the 4th point is rejoicing in the good deeds and in the good thoughts, virtues of all the great beings and all other sentient beings. The next is making request to the enlightened beings and the bodhisattvas to always continue to give teachings, give blessings, give inspirations to all the sentient beings. The 6th point is making request to these great beings, enlightened beings and the bodhisattvas, to always remain with the sentient beings so that the sentient beings, they continue to receive inspirations and blessings from them. And then finally, dedicating the virtues that you have so accumulated, virtues of oneself that you have accumulated since beginningless time until now, the merit that others have accumulated, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas have accumulated for the long life, for the longevity of this teaching, of this practice of bodhicitta, the practice of the wisdom, so that this light of the wisdom, the light of the bodhicitta, be seen by all the dear of the sentient beings. So these constitute the 7 limb puja. So in fact, that 7 limb puja is done in order for us to have this practice very successful, because this is such a noble practice, and the noble practice, in order for one to achieve a very noble goal in Bangalore, for example, you think of taking your vehicle with you to go in a vehicle. So for that, in order for one to successfully reach Bangalore, this vehicle, number one, the road must be very clear. The road, there should be no trees, no rocks on the road, all must be cleared. So that is, our mind, like the vehicle or the road, this mind must be cleared of all the obstacles. And then, even if the road is very clear, but if the vehicle has no fuel in it, no gas in it, again the vehicle cannot go. So the road must be clear, the vehicle must have so much of energy, which is in the form of fuel. Likewise, our mind, which is like the vehicle, which goes towards to the noble goal of enlightenment. There, the path must be cleared, which means the negative karmas must be cleared, must be removed. And then along with the negative karmas getting removed, your mind must be very energetic with virtue. So this 7 limb puja is meant to clear the negative karmas, to purify the negative karmas, and to accumulate the wealth of virtue so that you become a proper vehicle to go to the noble goal of enlightenment or Buddhahood. Okay, so this is all purpose. And if you look at the 7 limb puja, for example, the first one, which is prostration, and the third one, which is confession, so these two are primarily meant to clear the obstacles or purify the obstacles. Then the other parts, like making offerings, then rejoicing, then requesting the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to give teachings, then requesting the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to abide or to remain with the sentient beings, then dedicating virtues, they are meant to accumulate wealth of merit so that you can very forcefully or very swiftly go to the noble goal of enlightenment. Okay, so this is the whole purpose. So that is very important. So in one's personal daily meditation, these seven limb puja must be done. And this seven puja is available in all different forms. Okay, now the actual meditation. Out of the two methods, the first one is the method of the sevenfold cause-effect relationship. Before the sevenfold, the equanimity. View your mother on the left side, a neutral person in the middle, and your enemy on the right side. And then reflect as thus. This mother who has been so affectionate, so caring, so loving to you in this life. But if you think carefully in time, keeping in mind the past, present, future time, then in the past lifetimes, this mother, although who has been so kind and affectionate towards you in this life, but in the past, so many lifetimes, she has been your enemies. So from that point of view, the excessive attachment that you have towards your mother is little one-sided, biased, because we are unable to think of the past relationships with the same mother. So from that point of view, it is just as she has been so kind in this life, she has been equally unkind in the former lifetimes. So there is a neutrality. If you think of the past and the present, then you see a balance, which means we are not to be excessively attached to your mother of this life. Then the neutral person, although the person who is just neutral, who is just a stranger coming into this ashram today, visiting ashram for the first time, you don't know the person and your reaction towards the person is neutral. But in actuality, he is not a neutral person. In the former lifetimes, so many lifetimes, he or she has been your incredibly affectionate mother, giving so much of love and care. Likewise, other lifetimes, he or she has been the worst of your enemies. Again, it's not that he is to be taken as someone unknown, so well-known person, just as your mother, so affectionate in this life and so unkind in other lifetimes. Like that, this person, so affectionate in one lifetime and so unaffectionate in the other lifetimes. So again, your mother and this neutral person, they are much more the same. It's not that I should be indifferent towards this neutral person, then I should be excessively attached towards my mother. They are both equal from that point of view, bringing into a wider perspective of the reality. Then the third person, on your right side, the enemy. Although this person has been so provocative and so bossy and being so harsh on you in this life, but within a single lifetime, a person who has been so unkind in the first part of the life, in the second half, the person can become best of the friends. So likewise, this person who is like enemy in this life, in the former lifetimes, has been exceptionally kind towards you. Again, we see that keeping in mind the past lives of this enemy is not really enemy. This enemy, just as he has been enemy in this life, he has been equally great kind mothers in the former lifetimes. So again, there is a balance. It's not that you should be driven one-sided to see the person as enemy, but actually in a balanced way. Now, think about your mother, the neutral person, and this enemy. nothing is left there as a basis for me to think of one person as my affectionate one, the other one as my worst of the enemy, or the third one as the neutral. There's no basis left to discriminate these three on that basis. So these three are much more equal. So just as these three are much more equal, my attitude towards these three should be maintained more in the form of equanimity. All other sentient beings are equally in that state. All other sentient beings, they are all just equal in terms of being so kind to me in one lifetime and being so unkind to me in other lifetimes. So they are all just equal from that point of view. Now, knowing this, henceforth, I will not hold a biased attitude towards the beings, some very much attached and some for some being so averse and for some being indifferent. This biased attitude I'm going to relinquish by knowing the fact that all these beings are equally kind and equally unkind in one lifetime or the other. Okay, abide in that state for a while with this commitment. And if that thought disappears, again try to bring in this thought that all beings are just equal from that point of view. There is no reason as to why I should be feeling exceptionally attached to some and exceptionally averse towards others. There is no basis left. They are all just equal. It's just a matter of time. This is leveling one's mind in order for one to build the castle of Bodhicitta, leveling the ground. Okay. Now with that balanced way of viewing all beings, now the actual practice of Bodhicitta is sevenfold. Number one is recalling all beings as having been one's mothers. Again, your mother, the neutral person, and your enemy. Think of your mother. This mother, who has been my mother in this life, the same person has been my mother for so many lifetimes in the past. Because my former lives, there was no beginning. Now, the neutral person, just as this mother has been my mother for so many lifetimes, even this neutral person, whom I consider as neutral, in actuality it's just a matter of time. In this life, which is so evident to me, I don't see this person as having been one's mother. Otherwise, in the past, which I have already forgotten, I have beginninglessly many lifetimes, infinitely great numbers of lifetimes. And this neutral person has been equally been my mother for so many times. It's not that the mother of this life is the one who had been my mother and others not. This is not the case. So just like this mother, the neutral person has been also my mother for so many lifetimes. Then try to bring in the experience. What when this person, neutral person, is my mother? How do you react to this person as your mother? Very close and intimate. Now think of the enemy. The person referred to as your enemy, Again, it's just a matter of time. Even in a single lifetime, the person who has been best of your friend just for some trivial reasons, he or she can immediately become the worst of your enemies. Likewise, the worst of enemy at one time can easily become the best of your friends the later times. So likewise, this person whom I see as enemy in this life, in the former lifetimes, he or she has been my mother so many times, where I have received enormous amount of love from him or her. So from that point of view, so this person seen as enemy in this life has been equally been my mother so many times. So my mother of this life, the neutral person, and the enemy, just as these three, all other sentient beings, somehow their relationship with me is either in the form of the present mother's relationship with me, or the neutral persons, or the enemy. From that point of view, all other sentient beings have been my mother so many times in the past. Try to invoke the experience of a very close and intimate feeling towards all these beings who are around you. Imagine you are just 4 years old boy, or 3 years old boy, or 3 years old girl, and then all these beings as your mother, just watching you, looking at you with such a care, such affectionate thought, and how safe you feel in front of all these mothers who simply think of benefiting you, giving warmth and kindness to you. The moment you experience a sense of security, a sense of safety, a sense of joy, abide in that experience for a while. Okay, the second step, which is second is Tinden, recalling the kindness of all these mothers. Again, the mother of this life, the neutral person, and the enemy. The mother of this life. Imagine, you are just 1 day old girl or boy, and then imagine the amount of love the mother has towards you as an infant. For her, you are the world, you are everything. And her thought is always after you. Her thoughts are not after anyone else, but only after you. It's all because of the incredible affection that she feels, incredible love that she feels towards you. Invoke that experience of the love of the mother. Then imagine you are 3 years old girl or 3 years old boy now. And then again the mother's love is so much, enormous. Whatever she does is as though like she's doing everything for you. And then imagine this mother, your mother, has to go out and you are to be kept with your father or with a neighbor. Then what kind of feeling goes in you, sensing this, the prospect of getting separated from your mother? How painful it is towards you. You will cry out, mother, mother, or mom, mom. imagine, try to invoke that experience, the pain that is going on in you, seeing the prospect of your mother separating from you for a while, how painful it is, a burst of pain coming in you. Again, why? Because you sense that the person who gives you the greatest security and greatest comfort, now that person is getting separated from you. You are getting separated from that person. And then you feel so vulnerable. You don't want to be separated. Sensing the enormous affection from your mother. Invoke that experience. The moment any experience that you are trying to invoke happens to occur, abide in that experience for a while. Okay, then you can think of the way Sudhakar's Guruji did. He was so poor himself. He was extremely poor himself, not having adequate money, even to pay the bus fare. And then, sensing that this little boy is so fond of this, what is that? Dosa, yeah. Dosa. Now, if you think of it, it's very cheap. But then, because of no money at all, the father not having any money, and sensing that the boy is so fond of it, and the father out of enormous love towards the boy, and on the other side, seeing that he has no money himself, even to buy 2 pieces of dosa, one for himself and one for the boy, not having that amount, he makes it a point that he sends the boy first, so that the boy gets the dosa, and then he comes later, whereby he will not have dosa. But then if 2 of them go together, and the dosa is given to the boy would feel hurt, but the boy will feel sad, seeing that the father is remaining empty stomach. And the father doesn't want to see the boy in pain, seeing that the father is remaining empty stomach. So look, again, this is such an enormous affection. It's not only simply giving dosa, that small thing, but also being sensitive to the issue that this boy might feel sad to see the father, beloved father, remaining empty stomach. So he doesn't want, while he likes the boy to enjoy the dosa, he doesn't want to see the boy in pain, seeing that the father is remaining empty stomach. Again, look, this is such a beautiful episode. Affection. This is the kind of affection that you've received from your mother. And then you think about the calves and the mother calves. As soon as the calf is born and someone comes there, the mother immediately becomes so alert to protect the calf. Imagine you are the calf. And then, why is the mother becoming so alert, so tense? Why? It's all because of the affection towards you, this tiny calf. Again, look, this mother of this life has been so many times your relationship with the mother in the form of animals, in the form of cows, in the form of dogs, in the form of cats, in the form of zebras. And again, say the story that we heard earlier, the bandits or the robbers, they were testing their skill of throwing the knives, and accidentally it hit a mare who is pregnant, and the mare was to die. even though the mare was dying, but seeing that the baby was coming out, she was not concerned about her own life. She was really concerned about the baby and licking the baby all the time. Imagine you are the baby and your mother in the form of that mare. So why is this happening? It's all out of the affection. So look, this is the amount of affection that we received from your mother of this life, in the former lifetimes as well. And we are all grown-ups now. In actuality, it has been like thousands of days that when we were so vulnerable as a young boy or a young girl. And then, the very fact that we survived all these days and now grew to a very strong men and women is a clear indication that our mothers have taken enormous care and not neglecting us even for a day. Had it been the case that we were neglected even for a day, a cat or a dog would have easily eaten us up when we were just a piece of flesh. And that didn't happen. It's all because of the affection of that mother. Invoke that experience and abide in it. Likewise, this neutral person, whom I consider as neutral in actuality, in the former lifetimes, this person has been so many times my mother's. Just invoke that, trying to take yourself back in time when this mother, this person, the neutral person in this life was your mother and you were his or her child. Again, the enormity of love that you have received from the mother of this life is exactly what you have received from this person when he or she was your mother in the former life. And you, not even being able to think of getting separated from this person, even for a few minutes, you feel so painful seeing the prospect of getting separated from that person who is so affectionate. Invoke that affection of the other person. So thinking of that, this person is no more a neutral person. This person is as affectionate to you as the mother of this life. Again, think of this person when he or she was a zebra or wild animal, and you were his or her young sibling. And then tigers and lions coming to attack you. And this person, in the form of the mother, just stood up and become so courageous to give full protection to you. Why? She can't really fight these lions and tigers, but she becomes so courageous. Why? It's all because of her affection towards you. She doesn't want to see you in pain. She doesn't want to let you die. It's all because of the affection, enormous affection, daring to risk one's own life for you. How can you imagine such a person as neutral person now, while having already received enormous love, whereby she dares to give her own life for you, and now you are thinking of that person as neutral and being indifferent? How shameless I am. No, this is not how I should be doing. Here she is my beloved mother, not an indifferent person. I was all those beings on this earth whom I consider as indifferent. Now from this reflection, from this meditation, I realize for the first time that they are no more indifferent, that they are no more neutral person. They are my most beloved, dear mothers, who are so kind to me. Okay, let's think of the enemy. So this person whom I treat as enemy, again in the former lifetimes, this person has been so many times my mother's. And just as this person in this life is terrible, very nasty, in the former lifetimes when I was his or her son or daughter, I was equally nasty so many times, equally bad and mischievous so many times. But she never described me as a nasty and horrible child, always described me with such a fondness and affection. While I expect enormous love from this person, and not wanting the person to describe me as something nasty and negative, but always seeing the person embracing me with love, no matter how badly behaved I was. If this is the case that I was expecting from this person as my mother's, and this person giving the same amount of affection, the way I expected, now to treat that person as enemy, seeing the little misbehavior of that person, it is such a shameful attitude from my side. I'm really a shameless person. Just as I expected when I do something bad in the former lifetimes, and this person was my mother, I expect love and affection continuously flowing from this person. This person also deserves your love and your affection when he or she behaves in a nasty way. Again, the same person in so many lifetimes when he or she was my mother's have dared to give his or her life for my safety. Invoke their experience. Again, imagine the wild, very fierce wild animals coming to eat you up. And this person, who is now you described as enemy, was there to just give her life for you. And why she is giving life for you is purely out of affection that she feels towards you. And you are dependent on your mother. When this feeling of affection comes in you, there is no barrier at all. There is no enemy. There is no neutral person. It is purely affectionate, beloved mother. So there, the whole world is contained there. And now, this whole world of yours once, not being able to identify who that person is, now I'm treating that person as an enemy. How shameful I am. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry for you. I'm very sorry, my mother. I'm taking you as enemy in this life. I'm very sorry it is my mistake, not being able to identify, not being able to recall the amount of love that you have given me in the former lifetimes, the amount of sacrifice that you have done for my sake in the former lifetimes. I'm very sorry that I'm treating you as enemy in this life. I'll not do it anymore, my kind mother, my kind mother. Okay, next. Tinso in Tibetan, wanting to repay the kindness of all the dear mothers. I received the maximum love and affection, sense of security, caring from all these dear, dear mother sentient beings when I needed them the most, even while they themselves were vulnerable to so many external conditions, but they dared to give life for my safety. Now, seeing that all these mother sentient beings, their plight, suffering terribly in samsara, out of ignorance, out of the 3 negative metal poisons based on the ignorance. And now, I'm very fortunate to have encountered such a wonderful teaching whereby I get the opportunity to reflect back in time and see how all these kind mothers, how all these sentient beings have been my mothers. And I also got the opportunity to get out of samsara altogether by studying, reflecting, and meditating on how everything is dreamlike, how there is nothing to feel attached to, how there is nothing to feel averse to. Everything is dreamlike. And yet, all my mothers who have been so kind towards me, who have been always there for my security, to give affection, care to me, they are totally blinded of all these wonderful teachings. And because of which, they suffer. Now, comparatively, I'm in a better position. With having received all the affections from all, the kindness and affection from all these dear mother sentient beings, now it is my time to repay the kindness. It is not the case that I'm still expecting love and affection from these beings. Now it is my time to repay them with the kindness that I've received from them, for the kindness that I've received from them, with the knowledge, with the affection, with the wisdom that I'm learning, I'm practicing. I will repay the kindness. I will repay the kindness. I'm there. All my dear mother sentient beings, I'm always there. I'm always there to repay your kindness. It will be shameful after receiving all this affection from you, all the mother sentient beings. And now, when I'm comparatively more able, I remain as distanced and ignoring the compassion that I've received from you. It's so shameful to do that. I'll not do it. I'll not do it. Thinking of your compassion makes me feel cry. You're always with me. I'm always with you. The fourth point, viewing all beings in the light of great affection. When you're able to reach to this third level, imagine you are seeing your child of this life, your son or your daughter of this life. Imagine he or she, very young, age 3, 4, among hundreds of other children. You could easily figure out your child as so distinct, shining amidst the hundreds of the children. And he or she is so different and so special in your eyes. This is known as seeing the beings in the light of great affection. See if I'm able to see all sentient beings in the light of great affection, the way the mother sees her son or daughter, 3 years old daughter or 3 years old son, amongst hundreds of other children. Okay, if you start seeing everyone in the light of great affection, the moment you see someone, there's a feeling of affection coming in you, this is good enough. This is the fourth practice, seeing all sentient beings in the light of great affection. Okay, next, great compassion. While now I'm very successful in invoking this experience of affection towards all the sentient beings, towards all my mother sentient beings. But what is the real plight of these beings? Is it that they are very successful beings? No. Whether they are rich, whether they are powerful, whether they are rich, if they are rich, they have problem. The fear of losing what they have. Disputes. If they are poor, there's a problem of poverty. If they are educated, there's a problem of being educated, wishing to get a higher job and not getting it. And if you are uneducated, you have a problem, not being able to go along with the society. If you have children, you have a problem. The children, they are abnormalities. They're not getting proper education. They're not studying well. Physically, they are sick, getting sick. And then after finishing the studies, not getting proper work, proper job. So like that, endless suffering. If you have no children, again you have a problem in the community. So like that, if you're healthy, you have a problem. If you're sick, you have a problem. If you live long, you have a problem. If you live short, you have a problem. So this is the situation. And in fact, as long as there is the three poisonous negative emotions present, one is always in the pangs of samsara, in the suffering state, very painful, which has the ability to give rise to heart attacks. And all the pains that you see in the world, they're all given rise to by these three negative emotions: ignorance, attachment, and aversion, anger. And as long as one has these three, one is never freed from suffering. So the plight of all the dear mother sentient beings is that they have such a very sad story because of the presence of these three negative emotions in them. So just as when I see my mother of this life having a headache, immediately I'm worried. I simply wish that my mother be freed of this headache. Likewise, now I'm seeing all my mother sentient beings suffering terribly in samsara, sickness, aging, death, then someone bullying you, someone torturing you, killing you, and so forth. Look at the poor chickens. they are being killed so mercilessly. And likewise, the poor cattle, they are being killed so mercilessly just for food, just for the meat. And these are the mother sentient beings. These are my mothers. And they are suffering terribly. And yet I love them so much, so naturally. A very strong wish of compassion, wishing that all these dear mother sentient beings be freed from the suffering and the causes of suffering. This is great compassion. And I wish that all these dear mother sentient beings, they are freed from suffering and the causes of suffering in the form of three poisonous emotions: attachment, aversion, which too are in turn rooted to this ignorance. May all my mother sentient beings be freed from suffering and the causes of suffering, be freed from the darkness of the ignorance which binds all my dear mother sentient beings in the pains of samsara. This is great compassion. Next is altruism, taking the responsibility of liberating all beings from suffering on my own shoulder. Okay, who is going to do this? I wished that all beings be freed from the suffering and the cause of suffering. Who is going to liberate them from the suffering and cause of suffering? I will do it. I will do it. I will take the responsibility that all my beloved mother sentient beings are freed from suffering and the causes of suffering in the form of the darkness of ignorance. I will take the responsibility that all my dear mother sentient beings are freed from suffering and the causes of suffering in the form of the ignorance, the darkness of the ignorance. How am I going to do that? It is through myself becoming perfect in three qualities: perfect love, perfect potential, and perfect knowledge. The perfect knowledge of the wisdom. So it is through myself cultivating this perfect knowledge of the wisdom, which sees everything as dreamlike through my own experience, then I teach them. I teach all my dear mother sentient beings this light of the wisdom, so that the darkness of the ignorance which traps them in the pains of samsara is eliminated. Then for the first time, all my dear mother sentient beings, they sigh with great relief that now they become fearless of the samsaric pains. I will take the responsibility to give the light of the wisdom through the medium of great compassion and potential, perfect potential, to eliminate the darkness in the minds and hearts of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become the enlightened being who is perfected in perfect love, perfect knowledge, and perfect potential. May I achieve Buddhahood. May I achieve Buddhahood, which is characterized by the three qualities: perfect love, perfect potential, and perfect knowledge, for to liberate all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha as soon as possible. May I become Buddha as soon as possible, to liberate all my dear mother sentient beings as soon as possible from the fears of samsara. May all my dear mother sentient beings become fearless. They experience fearlessness of samsara as soon as possible. May the darkness of ignorance disappear altogether. then may the light of the wisdom be there with all my dear sentient beings at all time. May I achieve Buddhahood as soon as possible for the benefit of all my dear, dear mother sentient beings. Okay, good.